Hi, Gannon. How you doing? Okay, I got your work up. And what I want to do is I want to do this critique like this. I'm going to go through the work and kind of give you my thoughts as I look at the work and my reactions to the presentation as it relates to the objectives of the project and the presentation as it relates to the elements and principles of design. And then what I want to do is at that point, I want to go over this kind of list of concerns that I have. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got the cover now. I think the one thing I want to mention is that these frames around each page, I think they're really impeding the breathability of the page. Basically, I think that they're boxing everything in and not allowing the pages to have an open relationship with the surrounding area, meaning that the plane of the entire page size. So I call it, a lot of times when students put things in boxes and frames, I call it putting them in jail. You've probably heard me say that before in the critiques in this class. I've said it a few times, but to me, it just it restricts the breathability of the page, and it doesn't allow the page to interact with the surrounding areas. So I would not recommend framing in the pages. The cover page, I think, is just begging for an image. It really is. I mean, it's just a great opportunity for you to introduce Rovaniemi, Finland in terms of a visual, an engaging visual presentation of the area itself. So that's one thing I think that's really missing here. Now, as far as the layout goes, I think that you're missing an opportunity to really exploit the use of white space in your two-page spreads. And the main reason is because of this frame that's kind of turning your two-page spread into two separate pages as opposed to one spread as you would look at, like if you were open a magazine, you would look at the spread and not page by page. I think this is kind of forcing you to look at each page individually, which kind of impedes the cadence and the timing of the presentation in a way that forces each individual page to be looked at separately as opposed to allowing the pages to be looked at as a group. Okay, the typography, you've got this center justification, and I think it's really causing some horrible spacing in between the words. And that's always a major concern with center justified type. Generally, I think that type is really got an enormous leading to it, which means the space between lines, and also the letter spacing, the kerning and tracking is also pretty wide open, which one thing is good, it gives the page a good, nice, light typographic color that allows the type to really readily react and act accordingly with the images, the headlines, and other graphics placed on the page. However, it's difficult to read, being that the word spacing is so unusual as a result of this center justified type. The layout itself, I think, is very restrictive. You're not using a grid per se. So you've got introduction on the left-hand side. So it's consuming the whole left-hand side of the page of the spread with the introduction, or the introduction to the specific topic. And then the rest of that topic is presented as such that you've just got a body text block, and then that spans the width of the page, basically, and then an image that does the same thing. So there's really no use of grid here, no mathematical harmony behind the page compositions and the page mechanics. So we're kind of left with just image type, instead of a reactionary play on negative space, spacing, alignment, scale, image, type, and the plane of the page as a presentation surface. And we see that over and over on each page. Okay, here's another image. The images don't vary at all. And I think that lack of variance creates a mundane kind of, by the time we get to page 8 or 9, that the viewer is going, geez, come on, I'd like to see some variation here. And I think that's really a visual problem in the presentation. You go from, let me see, your phase 1 is good. I think your phase 1 works pretty well as far as arguing this as a viable location for the bid for the Olympics, for the event itself. Talk about the venues, that's great. You're talking about the climate, etc. That's fantastic. Go into logo design, and that's good. Give a nice little background of the logo. Then you move into pictograms. That's fantastic. And then you show the pictograms in placement. So we got a nice transition from phase 1 to phase 2, info research and data gathering, into concept design. And then design development, I think, falls short. That's phase 3, and this is all we have really for phase 3. Now, this is something that I think is really interesting, and obviously you're interested in motion graphics, and this is fabulous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's stunning. However, it's not part of the assignment. Therefore, I think the assignment falls short in that I think that it would have been more expeditious for you to use the time that you spent creating this wonderful motion graphic. I would have think that time would have been better served presenting more phase 3 graphics placement, as it were. You know, you've got a ticket, you've got I'm not sure if that's a poster, and then you got another poster and a t-shirt. And that's really all you have for phase 3. I think that falls well short of a compelling presentation of your fifth element graphics, your pictograms, your logo, and your supporting graphics to support a visual language created for and supporting the Ravinnimi Winter Olympics. Many different areas you could have gone through. I'm not going to go through them now because we've been going through them in all those examples. So, but just to, I guess just to name a few is environmental graphics, building graphics, event graphics, arena graphics, Olympic Village, wayfinding, brochures, banners, vehicle wraps, etc. So, and then finally, you do not have a credits page, and there's feasibly no feasible cover for the back of the presentation. Okay, so those would be my comments off the top of my head. Now let's take a look at my areas of concern, and these are things that could feasibly, or could and will affect the standing of the presentation as it relates to the objectives set forth in the grading rubric. Okay, there's no table of contents. You've got, what do we have here? 21, 20, 17, 18 pages. So in a presentation like this, 18 pages, I think it would be very wise to include a table of contents in case your viewer wants to get to a specific page. They don't have to keep on scrolling through back and forth to find the page they're looking for. Center justified type leaves large rivers in your type. And rivers are these things right here, spacing and rivers. And basically, a river would be something like this. You can see how this kind of goes like this through the type. Here's another river here. It goes like this. And it's just how the eye follows a vertical path through the type created by unusual word spacing. Spreads do not use a grid. Rather, everything is spanned to the width of the type blocks. Phase 2 concept design does not include typeface use. So right over here, you describe the logo and its origins and its inspiration, but you don't talk about the type at all. So you would want to include the type usage in both the wordmark, Ravinnimi, and the 2022. Phase 3 is underdeveloped. I mentioned that. I talked about that already. Missing research and image credits. I mentioned that. No back cover. I mentioned that. And then spelling errors. I think I saw two, but here's an example. Northern, Norhtern. So there's some spelling errors there. And of course, as we know, being designers, that's just something that you do not want to do in presentation format. Okay, didn't mean to take out all 8 minutes or over 8 minutes, but I did want to get you a really good, solid critique. I know you've been working hard, and I think that with some additional help, I think we can get this to where it needs to be. Right now, I think that it needs some attention in terms of getting it to a presentation format where it would be suitable for a final student portfolio. If you need help getting it there, even though the class is over, I'll be more than glad to help you out, again, and just keep my contact information. And I'm sure I'll see you in other classes too. But please, take me up on my offer on that. I'm more than glad to help you out there. All right, thank you very much. Sorry this took so long. I had a great class. I enjoyed your engagement and discussion board and critiques, etc. So thanks very much.